All right, Sarah. Well, thank you for joining me. Just kind of wanted to sit down and introduce not only like my business partner to everybody else out here, but just kind of explain how you and I first got connected and what our real mission is with the athletes that we're working with.
Yeah, we have a pretty awesome story. It's kind of crazy how it happened, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Just kind of random luck, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I'm Sarah Sargent. I've been doing posture alignment therapy for about 15 years. And so I actually used to work for a company, the world leading company in posture therapy. And I was helping run the education is kind of how it started, right?
Mhm.
And so I've certified a lot of the posture therapists that are out there right now. And somehow you kind of we kind of stumbled across each other.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I luckily knew somebody who you also knew, and I name dropped them to you, and that kind of just kicked off. Like I was already invested in learning about posture and the conversations that we were having, but once we kind of got into a little bit more familiarity with one another, I think it just kind of took off from there. We started having more frequent conversations, and then you helped me get a job, and then we
Yeah.
kind of progressed into where we're at now.
I mean, I think some of the biggest things were, to be honest, the story that I tell everyone is like, we started seeing each other. You were in college still,
Mhm.
right? And I don't know. I just saw that you were really intelligent beyond belief in a lot of different areas. And so I had to actually start creating different types of assignments for you that I had that weren't part of the protocol, they weren't part of anything, just to keep you engaged. And it was like mind blowing what you would come up with and the work that you would come with in a day. The turnaround would be so fast. And I'm like, what is up with this guy, really? What were you going to school for?
Well, I was in school for human physiology with a minor in psych, and the way that I scheduled all my classes was I would be done with classes and homework by 2 p.m. So if you gave me an assignment, I literally had nothing else to do at that point in the day. I was like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, also you'd just be done like with everything in college, like on a day-to-day basis. So it was insane because I'm just sitting here like, how am I going to keep him engaged in what's happening? So I guess here's my biggest thing though. You were going to college for that specifically, and then you stumbled upon posture alignment therapy and you got certified. And I threw you some really big obstacles and challenged you a lot because I took what you had been learning for like 4 years and I challenged it and kind of like you had to rethink a lot of different things and the beliefs that what you were what you were told, right?
Well, I think yes and no. So as I was going through school, I was really looking for an answer for why I got hurt personally, and was asking my professors all these questions about like how do injuries happen, why do they happen, why is rehab not more successful under the current means that we use, and none of them could really give me a clear answer for the stuff that I was looking for until posture therapy really changed everything for me. And I threw a baseball pain free for the first time in 6 years after doing 5 minutes of exercises. And I was like, what is this? Like this is not something that I've ever seen before. So when you would ask me these questions that would kind of challenge the way that I was currently being taught, is it didn't necessarily feel like it was trying to say like, hey, everything you're being taught is wrong, but there's a different way to approach this problem. And I think once we kind of started to get into understanding more of a root cause level of why there's dysfunction within the body and how that leads to pain, it became like a pretty clear, like 1, 2, 3 step equation of how we got there. And that was really the answer that I was looking for.
Yeah, it was really simple. It's kind of, I call it one of the components or missing links because
It's too simple.
it's too simple. And so when we go to school, like medical school about it, there is a little bit of a component that is missed there and kind of talking about how the body is designed. Yeah, so I know that a lot of people know your story, right? We've got it up on our Instagram and YouTube and everything what's going on. And so I don't know. I think it's really what for me, I think it's really interesting to see why we're actually here and why we show up. And like, yes, we have a mission statement and a vision for the company, but realistically, I think it's I want to talk about our moral compass and what why we're here. And both of us have injury stories, right? And we weren't really looking for an I mean, I know you were in school, but when you stumbled upon here and we were working with, who you were working with, you didn't know it was going to change your life, huh?
Not in the way that it was. I knew that it was going to allow me to not have to deal with the same level of pain that I experienced. I didn't know that that I wouldn't have these problems to date. Now, granted, I still do my exercises, and most of the people that we help that end up getting a result and then going back to where they were before stop doing their exercises. So don't do that. But it the longer that I'm around this method and the more people that we work with and the more stories that we're able to see of how this change really happens, the more it just solidifies like this really does work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I broke my back when I was 19 and I didn't run into this until my later 20s and had no idea. I mean, I was already working, going through training and everything and had no idea how it was going to change my life. It was actually never really brought up until um I was forced to do some really vulnerable work with the therapy. So, yeah, it's a big deal and I realized that it does change lives. It really changes lives, not just from a physical standpoint, especially where, we primarily work with elite level athletes. We were also an elite level athlete, in high school, college. And so to be able to dive into it, I think realizing how much it can help people and help ourselves, not just physically, but also emotionally and like from a holistical or a holistic standpoint and overall, is pretty crazy. But I think that's gonna kind of why we're here, right?
Yeah. Well, I think what you're kind of talking about is exactly what happened to me. Like, yes, I had the physical symptom no longer be there, but like, what did that symptom not being there allow me to actually do? And what it allowed me to do was regain kind of a self sense of identity as like, I was a baseball player. I am no longer a baseball player. And it's because of this one thing. And if that didn't happen to me, then everything would have gone how I wanted it to be. I'd be in the big leagues. Like that's what I would tell myself, right?
Yeah.
And like that's a heavy weight to carry, especially when I'm watching my twin brother do literally everything that I wanted to do, right? So it was emotionally and mentally just exhausting. It was just had this hold on me that I couldn't get rid of. And once the physical symptom went away, kind of these other underlying things that were occurring because of that also went away. And I saw my quality of life increase. I saw my mental health increase, all from just simply putting my body in a better position, which sounds so strange, but it's like, what is this physical symptom not allowing you to do more emotionally than physically? Like, yeah, you can't play at the level that you want, but like, what is that actually doing to you? And what is it going to look like once that problem isn't there?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's actually really difficult when something like chronic pain exists or an injury exists and it dissipates into thin air. It doesn't exist anymore. And sometimes when we live with it for so long, it is our story. And when it goes away, sometimes we don't even know what to do with ourselves.
Well, it's also incredibly frustrating. At least for me, I was sitting here thinking,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you just changed my life in 5 minutes. But where the hell was this before when I actually needed it? And like, there was like this almost sense of anger of like the doctors and the medical professionals that I saw. I was like, you failed me. Like, you literally failed me. There is this thing out here that can change it. And the problem is none of them know about it. So I was ascribing this blame to people and saying like you failed me when really they didn't fail me if they don't know about it. But it it just went from like this problem will never go away to holy shit, it went away and it was that simple. Why have I not found this before?
And coming from an environment in which you were diving into it in college and wanting to really learn about that, you know, and it didn't exist. Medical world, same thing, doesn't matter. Even specialists, cardiologists, orthopedics, a lot of them are missing that one major component because they look at the symptom, right? And they want to change that. Yeah. I like to talk about when when we see clients, I ask crazy questions and I'm like, this is gonna, affect your blood pressure, cholesterol, bowel movement, sleep, energy, sex drive, all these different environment. Like I like to ask three goals, and a lot of times I'll say something as ridiculous as like, what are your three goals? And it doesn't have to be physical, whether it's like going on a date night once a week or pooping every day or getting them outside of why they think they're coming to see us, which they think it's, let's just say, our elbow pain or they had a Tommy John. It's going beyond that. So, um, one thing I do want to bring up is we work with a lot of athletes that are younger, but then we also work with a lot of athletes that are going into college or in minor league and major league, professional athletes. And just with the our stories in itself, right? Think the reason why we're here. And listen, I used to not do this, right? You really took the company and we've been focusing on the elite level athletes. But I think the biggest thing is why are we here, right? And I think it has to do with, I think you've talked about it a little bit, but that we're trying to help the longevity of the athletic career for these guys and being able to give them an answer because a lot of, I'm gonna just say this, 100% of them come out saying that they don't have an answer. They have a lot of pieces, right, that they can put together, excuse me. But to be able to put everything together for them and help them with posture therapy, I think is huge, right?
I always say like or at least when I'm talking to parents, particularly of like the kids that I coach on my youth team, is like my goal is simply one thing, and that's to ensure that what happened to me doesn't happen to you or that it doesn't happen to your child. And like that is really the entire goal of this. And this is the only thing that I have found that has allowed me to regain control of my life. It is not a well-known method. There's not a ton of like medical research backing this, but there are testimonials all over the place from elite level athletes, NFL, Olympic level athletes to grandma who has had three spine surgeries who couldn't move and is still in pain and she starts doing this and all of a sudden regains control of her life. Like this affects every single person on the spectrum because we all have the same design blueprint of the body, but we all use our body in different ways just because of our environment and the stuff that we do. But if you boil it down to one thing, it's really simply to ensure that there is a better way for your athlete to train or for you to train as an individual. You just haven't been shown how to do it yet.
Yeah. I mean, I like to have really difficult conversations, but it really is taking responsibility of ourselves. Not just health or performance or anything, but it is really taking responsibility of ourselves, right? Because what we teach, I think the reason why I'm here, and my core value is also very similar, but we've dealt with a lot of people who have seen the best of the best and done spent millions and millions of dollars on whatever. And it could have been just as simple as like looking at posture. And posture, I hate the word posture, but it's as simple as looking at the stick figure. But I think society wise, it's hard for us. We think we can control everything, but the body is a totally automated system. So what we do is working with it, and that the vulnerability of giving that control away is really hard. So we what posture therapy does is creating opportunity for the body to take care of itself, you know? And so everyone we work with, our goal or my goal, I say the way I say it is I'm trying to teach you how to take care of yourself. Because it doesn't have to be a surgeon and it doesn't have to be a pill and it doesn't have to be X, Y, and Z, you know? But I think it's hard. So it does take the timing has to be right. It's not, a lot of times if the timing's not right, that is okay too. But I think we just want to be a resource for people so they know that it's not the end, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I mean, no matter the level of self-defeat that you have when it comes to the current situation that you have is just like anything in life is if you put the correct things into your routine, your circumstances will change. But if you continue to run on the hamster wheel of doing the things that you already know aren't helping you, but it's what everybody else is telling you that you need to do, like you need to have the control and the wherewithal to understand like not everything that people tell you to do is going to work for you. And you have to find the things that work for you. And if this one plan doesn't work, try a second plan, try a third. But just living in this stagnant level of I'm doing this because somebody else told me to is a surefire way to get yourself into a situation where you don't want to be.
yeah. Instinct, we talk about instinct a lot. We're an instinctual species and we've forgotten that. So, a lot of times we'll say, when people are doing 5 things, 5 different modalities, I don't even like working with them. It's not that I don't want to, I just want them to know what works for them. It's advocating for them. So,
Yeah, it's too many cooks in the kitchen. And that's not saying like if you do PT or you do chiropractic or you do massage therapy, these other things that they're bad or wrong. Like posture pairs really well with all of these other things because it's creating a better opportunity for those things to be successful because your body's in a better position. But if we're in level 8 pain and you're doing 4 things and then you throw this on top of it, what's the thing that really helped? Like we don't know because there's too many cooks in the kitchen. So it's not that you can't do these things, it's just trying to refine and distill your process into what is it that I truly need to do versus what is the eyewash that's a part of this.
yeah, I mean, we become desperate, kind of going back into what you were talking about, especially the position you were in and the injury and watching your brother go through all of it. Like, it's a lot. So, but yeah, well, I really appreciate this conversation. I hope if you guys have any questions, let us know. But
We're always here for you. Anything you need, whether it's just understanding more about how posture works, if it's understanding more of who we are as people, or just ultimately wanting to try out a few exercises, just let us know what we can help you with, and we'll be happy to do whatever you need.
all right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, Sarah.